Food is meant to nourish us, but sometimes it has a deadly sense of humor. From killer contests to fatal cravings, some meals come with a shocking twist. Get ready to chew on the weirdest, wildest, and most bizarre deaths ever caused by the very thing meant to keep us alive. On a summer evening in August 2019, a festive mood filled Chukchansi Park in Fresno, California. The Fresno Grizzlies were hosting their popular taco truck throwdown, an event that combined baseball, food trucks, and a taco eating contest to entertain the crowd. One of the eager participants in the contest was 41-year-old Dana Hutchings, a local man who had arrived ready to compete with enthusiasm and determination. Described by friends and family as full of life and always up for fun, Dana didn't have professional eating experience, but he was excited to be part of the event. Unfortunately, what was supposed to be a light-hearted competition quickly turned tragic. As the contest began, Dana reportedly started eating at a rapid pace, not chewing thoroughly as he rushed to keep up. Witnesses later recalled him shoveling tacos into his mouth, likely unaware of how dangerous that could be. Within minutes, something went wrong. He collapsed during the contest, prompting a swift response from on-site medical personnel and paramedics. Despite their immediate efforts, Dana was rushed to Community Regional Medical Center, where he was later pronounced dead. The cause: choking. The news stunned the crowd, the organizers, and most of all, Dana's family. His son, just 18 years old at the time, later shared how surreal and devastating the loss was. In the aftermath, the Fresno Grizzlies canceled the upcoming professional taco eating competition out of respect and concern. What began as a community celebration had turned into a heartbreaking reminder of how even casual competitions can carry real risks, especially for untrained participants. The incident also sparked wider conversations about safety protocols in amateur eating events. While professional eaters often train for months and know how to manage their pace, the average person usually isn't aware of the physical strain or dangers associated with speed eating. In April 2021, Dana's son filed a lawsuit against Fresno Sports and Events LLC, the organization behind the contest. The suit alleged negligence and pointed out that no warnings or safety measures had been provided to participants. His legal team emphasized that amateurs like Dana had no way of knowing the potential hazards, and that organizers have a responsibility to ensure such events are conducted with proper care. The case brought renewed attention to the lack of regulation in public food competitions, particularly those involving audience members rather than trained professionals. Dana's story struck a chord with many because it showed how quickly something fun can turn fatal. It was a stark contrast to the usual tone of these events, which often focus on lighthearted competition and big appetites. Behind the headlines was a grieving family left to make sense of a senseless loss, and a city grappling with how to prevent similar tragedies. While the taco eating contest may have been intended as harmless entertainment, the incident served as a sobering lesson on the importance of safety, oversight, and preparation, even in the most unexpected of places. In remembering Dana Hutchings, many hope that changes will be made to better protect participants and ensure that future events prioritize not just fun, but also well-being. Pancake eating contests are usually all fun and carbs, syrup, smiles, and a little friendly competition. But in April 2017, what started as a lighthearted charity event at Sacred Heart University in Connecticut took a tragic turn that no one saw coming. Caitlyn Nelson, a 20-year-old student with a warm heart and a history shaped by loss and resilience, joined the contest like many of her classmates. It was part of Greek Week, a time typically filled with games, bonding, and college camaraderie. Caitlyn wasn't just any student. She was studying social work, volunteering with trauma survivors, and had lived through her own unimaginable loss when her father, a Port Authority police officer, was killed in the 9/11 attacks. But that day in March 2017, the spotlight wasn't on grief or past pain. It was on pancakes, of all things. Just a few minutes into the competition, Caitlyn suddenly began choking. Onlookers first thought it was part of the act, a gag perhaps, but the situation escalated terrifyingly fast. She collapsed, and people rushed in to help. Some were nursing students, others campus police, but despite CPR and emergency efforts, Caitlyn's airway was blocked by a mass of food. She was taken to the hospital and later transferred to a critical care center in New York, but tragically, her brain had been deprived of oxygen for too long. After 3 days of fighting for her life, she passed away on April 2nd. The news shocked her campus, the local community, and even national audiences. People couldn't wrap their heads around it. How could something as routine as eating pancakes turn fatal? candlelight vigils were held and the university lowered its flag to half-mast, her sorority sisters, friends, and professors remembered her not just for her bubbly personality, but also for her compassion and dedication to helping others. Caitlyn had been certified in youth mental health first aid and spent time working with children affected by the Sandy Hook tragedy, a reflection of her deep empathy and commitment to healing. But what followed her death raised more difficult questions. Her family, still reeling from the shock, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Sacred Heart University, arguing that the event lacked proper medical supervision and overlooked the obvious choking hazards of a speed eating contest. The lawsuit pointed out that eating competitions, though popular, aren't without risk, especially when they pressure participants to consume food unnaturally fast. In 2020, the university reached a confidential settlement with her family. No pancake or contest was worth a life, and that truth landed heavily. Health experts weighed in too, warning about the dangers of food-eating contests that blur the line between fun and recklessness. The body isn't designed to inhale stacks of food in seconds, and for all the laughs and cheers they bring, these events can carry hidden risks, especially without trained medical personnel on standby. Caitlyn's story became a heartbreaking case study, a reminder that behind every silly campus game there must be safety measures, clear planning, and caution. The tragedy changed things. More colleges began reevaluating their event policies, some even canceling eating contests altogether. Caitlyn's name still surfaces in discussions about event safety and student well-being, and her memory continues to inspire change. For her loved ones, she'll always be remembered as the girl with the bright smile who turned personal tragedy into purpose and kindness. But for the rest of the world, her story is a sobering lesson. Even moments meant to be joyful can take an unexpected, irreversible turn. And while no one could have predicted such an outcome, it's a painful example of how quickly life can shift from laughter to silence in just a matter of bites. Back in 2007, when the Nintendo Wii was the hottest thing on the market and nearly impossible to find in stores, a California radio station decided to hold a quirky little contest called Hold Your Wii for a Wii. The premise? Simple but bizarre. Contestants would drink large amounts of water without going to the bathroom, and whoever held it in the longest would win a brand new Wii console. It sounded silly, even a bit funny at first glance, but what started as a promotional stunt quickly spiraled into one of the most tragic and avoidable incidents in radio history. Jennifer Strange, a 28-year-old mother of 3 from Rancho Cordova, joined the contest on January 12, 2007, hoping to win the Wii for her children. Like many parents at the time, she wanted to give them something special, and if that meant chugging some water and holding it for a few hours, so be it. She showed up cheerful and ready to compete, drinking bottle after bottle of water, over 1.5 gallons in total. As the contest went on, she started complaining of severe headaches and feeling ill. Her discomfort was even audible during the broadcast, but the radio hosts laughed it off. One DJ joked about people dying from drinking too much water, clearly not believing it could actually happen. But what the station didn't take seriously was the very real and dangerous condition known as water intoxication, or hyponatremia. It happens when someone drinks an excessive amount of water in a short period, diluting the body's sodium levels and leading to swelling in the brain. Jennifer's symptoms were textbook, but sadly no one stepped in. Not the DJs, not the staff, not even the nurse who had reportedly called the station earlier warning about the dangers of the contest. Jennifer left the station hours later feeling visibly unwell. She called her coworkers to say she wasn't feeling right and needed to go home. Not long after, she was found dead in her bathroom. The official cause, acute water intoxication. The news hit hard, not just because of how tragic and preventable it was, but because it happened under the watch of people who should have known better. The DJs had laughed. Listeners had called in warning them, and yet it continued. The fallout was swift and intense. The radio station, KDND 107.9 The End, came under major fire. 10 employees were fired, including the 3 DJs who had hosted the show. But the consequences didn't stop there. Jennifer's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the station's parent company, Entercom Sacramento, and in 2009, they were awarded $16.5 million in damages. The lawsuit revealed disturbing audio clips from the contest where the hosts openly joked about someone dying from water overdose, clearly aware of the risk but continuing anyway. Public outrage didn't just stop at the lawsuit. The Federal Communications Commission, FCC, was called in to investigate, and the case was cited as one of the reasons the station eventually lost its license and was shut down in 2017. What was meant to be a cheeky publicity stunt had turned into a cautionary tale about media responsibility and the very real dangers of pushing limits for entertainment. Jennifer's death became more than just a headline. It sparked discussions around the globe about the ethics of radio contests, the importance of informed consent, and the tragic consequences of ignoring science and medical advice for the sake of ratings. She wasn't some reckless thrill seeker. She was a devoted mother trying to win a gift for her children. In the end, the incident stands as a heartbreaking reminder. Sometimes what sounds like a harmless game can have fatal consequences when common sense and compassion take a back seat. And no prize, no matter how shiny, fun, or rare, is ever worth someone's life. In October 2023, in the city of Gwangju, South Korea, a tragic and unusual incident unfolded that gripped the internet and reignited a long-standing debate about the safety of certain traditional dishes. An 82-year-old man lost his life after choking on sanakji, a popular Korean delicacy that consists of live octopus tentacles served while still squirming on the plate. While to some this might sound like an adventurous culinary experience, this case proved once again that even cherished traditions can carry serious risks, especially when those traditions involve food that actively tries to latch onto your throat. Sanakji is not your everyday seafood. The octopus is either served whole while still alive or, more commonly, cut into pieces while the nervous system is still active. The result? Twitching, squirming tentacles that react to soy sauce and sesame oil like they've been possessed. For locals and daring tourists alike, it's an iconic dish that symbolizes freshness and excitement. But here's the kicker. Those tiny suction cups don't stop working after the octopus is chopped. They can stick to your mouth, your throat, or, in the worst-case scenario, your windpipe. And that is exactly what happened to the elderly man in Gwangju. A piece got lodged in his throat, and despite emergency medical attention, he couldn't be revived. What started as a routine meal ended in a fatal tragedy. Unfortunately, this is not an isolated case. South Korea has reported multiple deaths over the years due to choking on sanakji, with several incidents making headlines as far back as the 2000s. It is a silent danger hidden beneath the novelty of the dish. While many locals are familiar with the proper way to eat it, chewing thoroughly and cutting it into smaller pieces, accidents still happen, especially among the elderly. In this instance, the man reportedly suffered cardiac arrest triggered by asphyxiation, a swift and devastating end caused by something as deceptively simple as a bite of food. So why do people continue to eat sanakji knowing the risks? The answer lies somewhere between tradition, thrill-seeking, and cultural pride. For many Koreans, sanakji is more than just a dish. It is a symbol of culinary identity and an experience passed down through generations. Tourists seek it out for its shock factor. There is something about wrestling with your food that makes for a memorable dinner story. But with that thrill comes danger, and this recent tragedy serves as a chilling reminder that the consequences can be very real. In light of such incidents, health officials and food safety experts often advise people to be cautious. The golden rule: cut the tentacles into small, manageable pieces. Chew slowly and thoroughly, and definitely avoid alcohol while eating it. Alcohol can dull your reflexes and impair your ability to swallow safely. Some have even called for stricter guidelines in restaurants when serving sanakji, especially to older customers who may be at higher risk. After all, no delicacy is worth a life, no matter how traditional or exciting it may be. As headlines about the Gwangju incident made waves across news platforms and social media, it sparked conversations about where the line should be drawn between tradition and safety. While sanakji remains an important part of Korean cuisine, this heartbreaking case reminds us that even the most celebrated foods should be approached with care and awareness, because sometimes the food on your plate doesn't just squirm, it fights back. The internet has no shortage of wild trends, but few have sparked as much controversy and heartbreak as the infamous one-chip challenge. Marketed as a test of bravery and spice tolerance, the challenge dares participants to eat a single jet-black tortilla chip coated with some of the world's hottest peppers, the Carolina Reaper and Naga Viper. For many, it was all fun and fiery pain, a few tears, maybe some milk chugging, and lots of social media clout. But for 14-year-old Harris Wallabaugh from Worcester, Massachusetts, the challenge ended not with a laugh, but with tragedy. On September 1st, 2023, Harris took part in the viral dare. He was a bright and active sophomore at Doherty Memorial High School, known for his love of basketball, video games, and his warm, goofy personality. Like countless teens before him, he wanted to try the challenge, possibly to impress friends, maybe for the thrill, or just to see what all the fuss was about. What followed, though, was anything but expected. Harris began to feel unwell shortly after eating the chip. He was sent home from school, where he collapsed just hours later. He was rushed to the hospital, but tragically he didn't make it. The news shocked the local community and quickly spread across the country. What had been seen as a harmless social media stunt suddenly had a body count. Everyone began asking the same question: how could one chip be so dangerous? The official autopsy revealed that Harris died from cardiopulmonary arrest, triggered in the context of ingesting food with high concentrations of capsaicin, the chemical that gives chili peppers their heat. It turned out that Harris had an enlarged heart and a congenital condition called myocardial bridging, which may have made him more vulnerable to the extreme effects of the chip's heat. In simpler terms, the chip's intensity put his heart under more stress than it could handle. After his death, there was immediate outrage and concern. The one-chip challenge, made by a brand called Paqui, a subsidiary of Hershey, had long been sold with warning labels. It even came in a coffin-shaped box. But despite all the dramatic packaging, it was still easy for kids and teens to get their hands on it, sometimes directly from convenience store shelves. Paqui quickly pulled the product from the market, and the challenge was discontinued in September 2023. But for Harris's family, that decision came far too late. In July 2024, Harris's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Paqui, Hershey, Walgreens, the store that sold the chip, and others. The lawsuit alleges that the chip was marketed recklessly and made widely available to minors despite its known dangers. The family described Harris as a healthy, loving teenager with a bright future, someone who should still be here, laughing with his friends and planning for college. Their goal now is to prevent other families from going through the same unimaginable pain. The tragedy sparked a wider conversation about internet challenges, marketing ethics, and just how far we should go for viral content. While the one-chip challenge was meant to be a spicy joke, Harris's death was a brutal reminder that some things are no laughing matter, especially when young lives are at stake. The world may never look at a chip the same way again.